Because of the limited population here in Oklahoma, and I mean humans, you may not be surprised to find out that we have more wildlife than some people expect. Most of these animals are harmless. Some are really exciting to see in the wild, or maybe even in your backyard. So what can you expect when it comes to wild animals in Oklahoma? I'm Marcie Billen. I'm a real estate agent here in the Oklahoma City Metro, and each week I release fresh content just for you that's all about what it's like to live here in Oklahoma. If this content is helpful for you, would you go ahead and give me a thumbs up? That would be amazing. And if you're thinking of buying a home or selling a home here in Oklahoma, would you give me a call? I would be thrilled to help you. Honestly, the list of wildlife that you may encounter here in Oklahoma might be limitless, but let's jump into the list that I have. Usually the first thing that people run into when they visit here or move here are going to be the bugs. So we have lots of different kinds of bugs, from honeybees, wasps, hornets. There's also mosquitoes, of course. We have the random horsefly. All of these bugs you're going to find in the spring and summer, most likely. You'll also see fun things like butterflies, moths, grasshoppers. Like, not all these bugs are super harmful. And we do a really good job here in Norman, especially where I live, of helping the bee population. As for true wild animals, though, it may take you a little while to see some of your first ones. But usually some of the first ones you're going to see are something like turtles, which you'll see a lot in the springtime. They do cross the road. You might see them in your yard, and you'll definitely see them in ponds. Turtles, by nature, are very slow, so no reason to fear them. The turtles that sometimes cause a little bit of havoc are going to be maybe snapping turtles. You may catch them like whenever you go fishing, and you might have to cut their head off. Bobcats are really amazing to see in the wild. I didn't really see that many growing up, which was kind of surprising. I grew up way out in the country in northeastern Oklahoma. But when we first moved into our neighborhood here in Norman, which was a newer neighborhood at the time, we did see a bobcat, which, I mean, to see one in town is wild. They may hurt your animals, like your dogs and your cats, so you do have to be careful with that. You will probably see a snake if you live in Oklahoma long enough. I have seen so many, and yes, I have seen some this year. Most of the snakes are harmless. The black snakes are like rat snakes. The poisonous ones, we do have a few different kinds, like water moccasins. There are rattlesnakes, especially in western Oklahoma. I don't really know how to tell these apart. I mean, I know how to tell a rattlesnake. Yes, I think everyone does. But most of the snakes that you're typically going to see are harmless, but I just kind of steer clear of all of them. It's also very common to see deer just out grazing or running around. Maybe not in a heavily populated neighborhood, but I can drive on the highway, look over into a pasture, and see some deer. And it's usually because people are feeding them, but also not. So the one thing you do have to worry about with deer is they do cross the highway, especially at night. They are nocturnal typically. And they can cause a lot of damage to your car and cause a lot of injury. Recently, I was walking with my mom down in one of their valleys, and in front of us, we saw an armadillo, and we didn't have any dogs or anything with us. And whenever it saw us, it kind of jumped up and dove into a ditch.
Come on, just pull the damn trigger.
I don't think I can. It doesn't feel aimed right.
Look. All I want is for you to shoot that armadillo that is digging up my garden, okay? I mean, is that too much for me to ask for you to be a man for once in your life? Fine.
It was pretty hilarious. So they're strange animals, and one thing that you may or may not know about them is that they actually carry and spread leprosy. Rabbits are everywhere in Oklahoma. We have several different kinds. The main type you're going to see like in your yard if you live in a neighborhood or something is going to be this like small little bunny. We have a few that live under our shed. My cats love to watch them, and they do eat things like flowers. So if you don't like that, then know that we do have a lot of bunnies. At any given time, you're going to see a ton of them out. Like right now I see them out at sunset, especially, and they may just sit in the yard and do nothing. Squirrels are like rats, but they live in trees. And if you have trees, you're going to have squirrels, but they do like really big trees. My cats like to watch those as well. And they can be so funny. Like their personalities are pretty hysterical. So like if you walk around on the University of Oklahoma's campus, we always see a lot of squirrels because they have really big trees. And they get some really good food from the people who also walk around on campus. But they like to play, and they will chew through things. They may get into attics and stuff, but you just have to make sure that your house doesn't have any holes in it, right? Trash pandas, or raccoons, are prevalent. I haven't seen any at my house personally here in Norman, but in a little less populated areas, you'll probably see some. Of course, they love trash, which is why people call them trash pandas. Once again, they can get into your house, into your attic. I've heard it before. I haven't seen it too much in the city, but it is definitely a possibility. Coyotes are extremely common here in Oklahoma. As a kid, I would hear them howling outside. I got very used to it, so it never really freaked me out, but some of my friends, it definitely scared them a little bit. They can be very loud. Coyotes usually don't hurt humans at all. They may, of course, harm your pets. I've even seen them take down small calves, like small cows. One four-legged creature that you may find a little surprising to find here in Oklahoma are black bears. Reportedly, there are around 1,300 black bears here in Oklahoma. They recently have made their way back, mostly in eastern Oklahoma, and then I've heard also in the Panhandle. These aren't, they're smaller than the brown bears, or of course grizzly bears, which are giant, and they don't typically attack humans. But you just, watch out for those. In the past couple of years here in my neighborhood, we've had a little bit of a beaver infestation, and I think it's pretty funny. Like you'll go on a walk one night and then the next night go back out and you'll see a tree that's like toppled over because it's been gnawed on. So the beavers are mostly gone from my neighborhood, but you do find quite a lot of beavers here in Oklahoma. Foxes are an animal that we see quite often here in Norman. I am not totally 100% sure why. Growing up, I never really saw them, but here in Norman, we see them more. And they're really beautiful creatures. They don't usually cause too much harm, but they're pretty cool little animals. The dreaded skunk definitely has specific times that they come out here in Oklahoma, usually when they're mating or having babies, I think. If you smell one, you turn around and go the other direction. Don't hit one with your car. Oh, it's horrendous. And really try to keep your dogs away from them because it is really hard to get that smell out. What other animals are you worried about or really excited to see in Oklahoma? Let me know down in the comments. And be sure that you watch this video next.